A warm welcome to all the Taurus rising signs of the zodiac to your July 2025 astrology video. I'm Cosmic Girl. Trust you're doing well. And thank you for being here. Before we get into the video, we need to talk about your chart ruler, which is Venus. And Venus opening them up the month of July 2025 is continuing her transit through her domicile zodiac sign, which is Taurus. So she's been in your first house as a Taurus rising sign for the whole month of June. And this month, Venus will shift into your natal second house, which is Gemini. And at the tail end of the month, moving into August, your chart ruler Venus is going to be ingressing into your natal third house. So Venus is moving really quickly through the solar system. So there's a bit of movement going on here, physically, mentally, financially, for the Taurus rising signs in the month that is July 2025. So that's just like a little bit of a side note. It's like your footnote for the month. So you open up the month, you're still focusing on you. Venus is in your natal first house, where it starts, where you feel energized to put your best foot forward. You're sort of running your own race here with your chart ruler being in your first house. You're doing you, basically, filling your own cup up. And then moving on quickly this month of July astrologically. So that is the basis of the astrology. And of course, we're going to talk about all the planets in transits and lunations and aspects for the month of July 2025 in this video for you. Okay, Taurus rising signs, let's get into it. Mars is still in your natal fifth house of Virgo for the whole month of July. So sex drive should be pretty good, or you may be feeling a little bit extra when it comes to dating, really trying to create as much intimacy and time with your one-on-one relationships with this transit with Mars in your natal fifth house of Virgo. If you have children, children may be extra energetic. So as a parent, you need to run that energy out of them because kids may be a little bit rambunctious with Mars in the natal fifth house of children. It's really good for artistic endeavors. So if you want to get your paintbrush out, do some decorating, spruce up your environment, get cleaning. This is also a great transit to do that with Mars in Virgo in your natal fifth house for the whole month of July. Jupiter's still transiting in your natal third house of Cancer. So Jupiter will be here until the 30th of June, 2026. This is a really long transit. And Jupiter, exalted in Cancer, functioning very well in this zodiac sign, bodes really well for anything to do with your siblings. Siblings may be getting a serious uptick, and travel and educational opportunities are ripe with Jupiter in your natal third house. And also bodes really well, Taurus rising signs, for getting out and about in your community closer to home. You might have some nice serendipitous moments or find resources or utilities that benefit you with Jupiter exalted in Cancer in your natal third house. So that's pretty good for you as well, with Jupiter in your natal third being Cancer. On the 4th, Venus conjuncts Uranus, then Venus ingresses into Gemini, and Neptune begins its retrograde in Aries. So, yeah, the 4th of July is pretty busy. Happy 4th of July to all my US listeners out there. I hope you have a wonderful day of celebration. Okay, so 4th of July, with your chart ruler conjuncting Uranus, so this means that your chart ruler Venus and Uranus are at the same degree in your natal first house. And this is like an intimate relationship. So if you think two people like literally molded together, that's what a conjunctions are like. They sort of amalgamate into one another. They blend into one another. So on the 4th of July, when your chart ruler Venus conjuncts planet Uranus, this is a shedding of a skin moment where you're stepping into a new identity. You could be maybe considering conceiving a child, There could be something really big going on with the physical body. So I'm getting child or a proposal of marriage, an engagement, and a whole new shift in gears regarding a brand new beginning for you on the 4th of July. It's not going to happen for everybody like that. But just with this combination, with your chart rule of Venus being about relationships and what she's attracted to, what she loves, Venus is the planet of love, conjuncting Uranus, the planet of unpredictability, indicates that yours, you may be ready to really shock and surprise people and at the same time shock yourself by taking some sort of swift, acute action on the 4th of July. So that'll be a big day for you as a Taurus rising sign. Then Venus ingresses into Gemini, your natal second house. Well, nothing too newsworthy here. All I can suggest is that look at the diverse and variety regarding where you can build on your resources, because it's in the financial house that your chart rule is going to be in Gemini. And Gemini is all about options and variety. So your financial portfolio could potentially do with an upgrade. So do some research, maybe connect with people that can build some resources for you, whether that's you putting your best foot forward with the education that you have or a skill that you have to start a new job to bring in resources. That's a really beneficial transit. Nothing too um, extremely astrologically noteworthy here. Just know that you might be a little bit more focused on building resources and looking at your financial options with your chart ruler in Gemini and in natal second house until the end of the month. And Neptune, the outer planet Neptune in Aries in your natal 12th house, is retrograding at 2 degrees. Yeah, this isn't newsworthy either. Neptune's only been in your 12th house of Aries since the 30th of March this year. And Neptune's such a slow moving planet. I'm not really that concerned about Neptune having a major impact on anything regarding wherever Aries is for anyone's natal house placement in their chart, because Neptune hasn't been there long enough and it's only been moved 2 degrees. The only thing I can possibly put out there astrologically is that where you've been maybe navel gazing or doing a lot of work behind closed doors in isolation and solitude, Neptune might have had you feeling a little bit misdirected or a little bit overwhelmed with what you do on your own. And now that it's going retrograde on the 4th of July, I just might indicate you can see how you had what's been making you confused and dazed. Maybe things are settling down now, or you're coming to some sort of peace about something you've been working on in isolation. Nothing too astrologically noteworthy there with Neptune retrograding in your natal 12th house at 2 degrees in Aries from the 4th of July. On the 7th, your chart ruler Venus is sextiling Saturn and retrograde Neptune and trining retrograde Pluto. Yeah, 7th of July is a day to whistle while you work, finish your day's work, come home, enjoy a good meal and chill out. It's a very flowy, very relaxing day. Nothing's too much of a push. Expect the 7th of July to be one of those days where the green lights are just all green. There's no red lights. There's no traffic jams. People are almost uncharacteristically pleasant to deal with and a little bit maybe too generous and easy to get along with. But we'll take it when the astrology is good on the 7th of July. This is the day where things are just, nothing's too much of a push. It's really nice. And what is newsworthy on the 7th of July is Uranus is ingressing into your natal second house of Gemini. And Uranus hasn't been in the zodiac sign of Gemini for 84 years. So yeah, this is headline stuff. I'm not going to labour too much on this astrologically because Uranus is going to be retrograding back into your natal first house and then be retrograding back into your natal second house of Gemini permanently in 2000. and 26. So it's like a bit of a soft opening, like a peek through the window of what could be going on for you in the future when Uranus is here in your natal second house of Gemini from the 7th of July. Okay. Astrologically, how I would look at Uranus in your natal second being Gemini, Taurus rising sign. Now we know this is the financial house. It's the house of your skills and resources that support you. And Uranus is the awakener. Uranus is the swift, quick, um, freedom oriented, liberated planet of our solar system. Just wants to do its own thing, run its own race. That's Uranus. But Uranus being connected characteristically and archetypally to the awakener, you could think as this transit as Uranus in your natal second house of finances and things that are familiar to you that support you, because that's natal second house does support the self. Um, think of Uranus blasting through here because Uranus can have that sensation that things are just blasting and changing like sporadically. Um, that's natal second house has been asleep. Okay, and then Uranus comes in and wakes it up. Now, I'm not suggesting that your resources and your skill sets and your assets and possessions have been sleepwalking, but when Uranus steps into this natal second house of Gemini on the 7th of July, moving forward, if you have been sleepwalking and you haven't been cupped and seizing the day financially, then Uranus is going to accelerate activity in this natal second house of resources to get you out of the same old routine regarding what's coming in your daily checking account, what is familiar to you with your assets, possessions. There needs to be a level up here, and that's Uranus's job to shock you into a new direction for better or worse. So, Uranus being the awakener, check out where Uranus is in your own natal chart. That natal house, whatever zodiac sign it is in, Uranus's job is to wake you up from a sleepwalk, a deep sleep. And that can be completely uncomfortable when you're not prepared for it. But Uranus sweeps the decks and it sort of liberates you at the same time. And if you have something abrupt happen with your resources or your financial position, your possessions and your assets, for example, at the time it is absolutely devastating. That's the function of Uranus. He is the liberator that sweeps the decks, and it's uncomfortable. It ain't pretty at times. But what it does is it opens up a new path forward. So it's sort of like the clearing of the forest floor. And with that, you have a clear line of sight. There are no obstacles. There's nothing you can do now but build into a new future. That's the function of Uranus. And in that natal second house, that can be a little bit nerve wracking, yeah? But in Gemini, Uranus functions better than it does in your zodiac sign being Taurus. Because Uranus likes to shake things up and have freedom and liberation, whereas Taurus, no poking fingers here, Taurus rising sign, but that zodiac sign in of it itself is very rigid, hard to change and hard to move. It's a real effort, and maybe not a lot has really blown you off your perch since 2018. That's how long Uranus has been in your natal first house of Taurus. So in the zodiac sign of Gemini, Uranus functions better. Gemini is about diversity and variety and doing new things and considering many, many options. And Uranus functions better in an air zodiac sign like Gemini, more so than Uranus and Taurus. So it will be a beneficial transit for all of us with Uranus and Gemini. But in your natal second house of finance, there's doors opening for you to consider new resources and monetary pathways that maybe you haven't before. But keep in your back pocket, Uranus will be retrograding back into your first house. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Think of this as a soft opening. What can I blast through, break away from, and what can I consider regarding something maybe a little left field with my skills, assets, possessions, and my financial space. Moving on to the 10th of July, we have our first lunation of the month, and it is a full moon in Capricorn. This one's at 18 degrees, lighting up your ninth house. Now, the moon is in detriment in Capricorn, not the most fun lunation, but what I do like about this astrologically is that Jupiter, exalted in Cancer, is in the moon's sign. So I think the detriment component of this full moon is going to be reduced in as much as it not being as problemsome as it could be. So, this 10th of July, with the full moon lighting up your ninth house, it bodes well for coming to peace about a religious path that you've been on, a belief or something you've had faith in for such a long time. You're sort of coming to terms with something internal about your philosophy about life and faith. And this is not like the end of being indoctrinated into a church of any sorts. It simply means that you now know your moral and ethical compass and your faith and your belief path. And there's something about those topics and subjects on the 10th of July that might be on your radar. Not publicly speaking about them, you may be, but this is more of an internal process where you're feeling out how you feel and how you emotionally connect to those subjects and topics of religion, faith, and belief. And it also bodes extremely well, Taurus rising signs, for reaching a academic goal, whether that's graduation or you put in your final paper or it's time to sign off and go on your spring break. That bodes really well on the 10th of July as well. And travel is also the ninth house. So when it is the full moon, this may indicate that you're on the move physically or moving into a new environment on the 10th of July. And you may be interacting and dealing with different people, places, and faces as well on the 10th of July when you are traveling and you're out and about expanding through your mind, body, spirit, and soul. So it's not too bad of a full moon. We know the moon's in detriment, but Jupiter's in the moon sign, exalted in Cancer. So that sort of lessens the blow, if anything, emotionally is a bit bittersweet that you have to let go of. On the 13th, we have Saturn now retrograding in your natal 12th house with Neptune retrograde. And Saturn's beginning its retrograde in Aries at 1 degree. Again, nothing too astrologically newsworthy here. Saturn's only moved 1 degree in your natal 12th house. So with Saturn retrograding in your 12th house, this sort of is again indicating that you can see what you've been doing in isolation and behind closed doors. How's that working out for you? And can you loosen the grip, if you will, on, putting a lot of weight on your shoulders when Saturn goes retrograde on the 13th of July moving forward. We also have retrograde Saturn and retrograde Neptune, sextiling retrograde Pluto, and Uranus trining retrograde Pluto and sextiling retrograde Saturn and retrograde Neptune. So all in all, with all of these connections with sextiles and trines from the outer planets and Saturn, indicates that the 13th of July is also a flowy day where there's not too much of a push to whistle while you work and do what you need to do without too many obstacles. So I like July 13 for all of us. On the 18th, Mercury begins its retrograde in Mercury in your natal 4th house. This one's at 15 degrees. And Mercury will be retrograding all the way back to 4 degrees of Leo in your natal 4th house before it goes direct on August 11 next month. And on the 18th, when Mercury does go into a retrograde in Leo, it's sextiling your chart ruler, Venus. Um, I like this alignment because our two personal planets, being Mercury and Venus, when they connect in a sextile, this again is like flow and harmony. This is pretty an easy connection. So what I see here with Venus connecting to Mercury retrograde on the 18th, this might be a day where you can take a beat, take a day break, maybe chill out at home, do some cooking, not be so energetic, sort of reserving energy for just you on the 18th of July is what I see here. Something beneficial financially could improving the home or the family as well. You might be making a high-end purchase on this day with Venus connecting to Mercury in a natal fourth house to this from the second house. Um, okay, so Mercury retrograde in the natal fourth. Yeah, well, Mercury's on an angular part of your natal chart, which is the fourth house. And this is about where we get rest and we get sleep and we get to chill out at the end of the day. It's home, family, real estate. With Mercury in Leo, um, there's Mercury kicks up a lot of energy mentally, a lot of stimulation. So your home life could become very sedate from the 18th of July if it's just been go, go, go. Now, Mercury retrograde, you get to see where all the activity and excitement has been extended regarding home, family, and real estate and your state of rest at the end of the day. And really feel into an environment and how that is emotionally ticking your boxes. And you can, at the very least, with Mercury retrograde, before it goes direct on August 11 next month, feel confident about where you call home, your family unit, and Mercury just keeps the communication lines flowing. So it's fantastic for social events, maybe having more get togethers with family, spending more time interacting within your actual dwelling. So, really nice transit for you with Mercury retrograding in your natal fourth house of Leo from the 18th of July. On the 22nd, the sun ingresses into your natal fourth house of Leo. Leo, the sun is in domicile. This is Leo's planetary ruler. And this natal fourth house is lit up until the 22nd of August. So 4 weeks, you've got the sun in its own zodiac sign of Leo, lighting up your natal fourth house of rest, sleep, home, family. And you might be listening going, hang on, rest? And they've got the sun here. Exactly. So this transit can be extra lively. Not too surprised with Mercury here. I just think you're in for a lot of leadership, taking more of a leadership role in the home or within the family unit. You might be commandeering the family ship with this transit, stepping up to the plate and taking on responsibility regarding your home, family, real estate, and property with this transit with the sun in your natal fourth house being Leo from the 22nd of July to August 22nd. And on the 22nd, when the sun does ingress into Leo, it's sextiling Uranus in Gemini in your natal second house. So just like Mercury sextiling your natal planet Venus earlier in the month, we now have the sun sextiling Uranus in your natal second house in Gemini. This looks really good for uh, sort of stepping into a new role regarding your work, and it affects your family or your home life in a positive way. So the 22nd looks great for a new job, a new resource that benefits the home and family unit. So watch out for that on the 22nd of July. On the 24th, the Sun in Leo is trining retrograde Saturn and retrograde Neptune. The Sun is also opposing retrograde Pluto in Aquarius, and your chart ruler Venus is squaring Mars in Virgo. And the cherry on the top of the Sunday is a new moon in Leo. Deep breaths, a lot going on. I'll take a bird's eye view, not to overwhelm you astrologically with these alignments. Just feels like with the astrology on this day on the 24th that we're trying to find balance and our feet, where we call home, what and who makes us feel comfortable. Is the juice worth the squeeze financially? Am I in the right lane? And how does it all affect my sleep at the end of the day? That's how I see the 24th of July. So, thinking mode, a lot going on. Uh, Maybe a day where you need to drink more tea. Make sure you ground yourself, have lots of food in your belly so you don't get hangry, and just go with the flow to your best ability on the 24th of July because there's a lot of astrological alignments. But I just think this is about balance ultimately when on the 24th. So we all may be called to chill out on this day and take a beat, which we could all do with. And with a new moon at the end of the day on the 24th of July at 2 degrees in your natal fourth house, this is a new environment, a new change for a mother or a new residence. Something's changing and can also indicate pregnancy, or a new family member coming into the home on the 24th of July. Great day. Just deep breaths and drink your green tea and go with the flow. Life is chaotic at times, and the 24th of July just might be that day. And we're all in it, Taurus rising. You're not the only one. On the 30th, your chart ruler Venus now ingresses into your natal third house, being Cancer, until the 25th of August. So, your chart ruler Venus, the lesser benefic of the solar system, is joining the greater benefic Jupiter, where he's exalted in your natal third house of Cancer. Beautiful. When the two benefic planets are traveling together, it bodes well for releasing negative thoughts, brushing off, shaking off drama, like shaking off energy that's just been maybe a little bit too much with your chart ruler in Gemini, that very shining ball syndrome, zodiac sign of options and variety and diversity, action, 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 very mentally dense Gemini at times. And now your chart ruler is stepping into your natal third house of Cancer. This is emotionally connecting to your environment. Get-togethers with siblings, travel and education become a lot more focused with your chart ruler in your natal third house with exalted Jupiter until the 25th of August. So this is great for taking short courses, planning day trips, hooking up with your immediate family, and immersing yourself into community, like stepping out into those cafes, get to the beach. From the 30th of July to the 25th of August, you like being closer to home, not really interested in moving about too much. You're sort of getting to know your digs or familiarizing yourself with your daily haunts, if you will, with your chart ruler Venus transiting in your natal third house of Cancer with benefic jolly Jupiter exalted here. Really nice transit for all of us when Venus and Jupiter hook up. But for you, your natal third house, your siblings might be getting a serious upgrade, spending more time with them, short distance travel, and education is around if you want to engage. There'll be opportunities to extend your reach. Really nice. On the 31st, the last day of the month, we have the Sun in Leo, where the Sun is very, very happy in your natal fourth house, conjuncting retrograde Mercury. So this is like that earlier in the month when your chart ruler Venus was at the same degree in your first house with Uranus, where that they meld together, the planets, for a little while. And so the Sun and Mercury are melding when Mercury's retrograde. That doesn't really mean a hell of a lot. I really can't labour too much on it, but it's just very disappointing how Mercury and planets that go into retrograde have got a negative connotation. They actually don't. Anyway, I'm not going to preach about that. But on the 31st, when the Sun, and Mercury are melding together, we've got the Sun, life, intelligence, inspiration, optimism, connecting with Mercury, the planet of intellect, commerce, travel, and communication. In your natal fourth house of home, family, rest, peace, real estate, This looks absolutely fantastic for a event in the home, a surprise from a family member, a real estate opportunity, or potentially a get together in your actual home. The 31st of July ends astrologically with an absolute cracker of a day. Enjoy. That's your astrology for the month of July. I trust you have a wonderful month. Your chart ruler Venus at the end of the month is well positioned in your natal third house with exalted Jupiter in Cancer. So before your chart ruler does get there at the end of the month for you as a Taurus rising sign, it can feel chaotic. It can feel a lot. So if you work with planets and transits, which I'm assuming you do, if you clicked on this video and you're like, what is my chart ruler up to? Well, from the opening of the month of July till Venus does ingress into your natal third house of Cancer with exalted Jupiter, there can be a lot of mental activity and a lot of travel and movement. So forewarned is forearmed. Make sure you got plenty of gas in the tank. Maybe should consider taking vitamins. Make sure you have grounding practices. Make sure you've got plenty of sleep. Make sure that you get plenty of good dietary intake into the body so you can function better in a physical perspective. Having your thinking cap on with your chart ruler, Venus being in that natal second house of Gemini, can be a lot. So watch for overextension and overthinking. Best way to work with this is learn to take your work hat off at the end of the day. Don't loop, don't do research late at night when you know you need your Z's. That's the best human way I could advise you regarding your planet transit in the month of July 2025. Okay, I'll leave it there. If you have any questions, you can contact me at cosmicgirl101 at protonmail.com. Till next time, Taurus rising signs, have a blessed month and stay cosmic.